Hey Hunters, Halo Zoo here, back for more D&D 5.5 stuff. So this time we're going to be looking at the Paladin class. So this isn't getting a full rework either. Only Fighter and Ranger got a full-on ground-up rework, while Warlock is getting a semi-rework, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. But Paladin, it's largely going to be the same, with most of the same abilities, just slightly tweaked. Some may or may not have gotten nerfed, but that's mostly because they're incredibly powerful. But there's a few changes, but let's get to it. So, first level, you begin with your Sacred Oath and Fighting Style Initiate. That's par for the course with 5.5. Lay on Hands and Divine Sense still. Second level, Spellcasting and Divine Smite. Looks the same as before. Third level, you get an Oath feature, Divine Health, and Harness Divine Power. And that is specifically Oath spells at third level. Everyone gets Oath spells at that level now. So you don't start with them, because you don't start with Spellcasting, so you have to wait till third for it. Harness Divine Power for the first use. Fourth level, ability score increase. Fifth level, extra attack is still around. Sixth level, you get an Oath feature, which is actually the Oath Aura plus Fighting Style Adept. So your Oath Aura and Aura of Protection got switched around because, as you can see, Aura of Protection is at 7th level alongside Divine Dedication. But you will notice a new ability, or quote-unquote new ability, Paladin's Aura. Basically, it's just a way of explaining how the auras work and give them a sort of... and it's also, they're actually one aura that has multiple effects, but it'll make more sense later. 7th level, Aura Protection, Divine Dedication. 8th level, ability score increase in feat. 9th level, extra use of Harness Divine Power. 10th, Aura of Courage, Oath feature. 11th, improved Divine Smite. 12th, ability score increase feat. 13th level, extra Channel Divinity use, which was thrown in mostly just because they don't get much else. So I decided to throw that in as, hey, here's an extra ability at this level that you normally don't get anything besides better spells. 14th level, Oath feature plus Fighting Style Master. 15th, Cleansing Touch. 16th, ability score improvement and feat. 17th, third use of Harness Divine Power. 18th, Aura Improvements. 19th, ability score increase in feats. And then 20th, Oath feature and Divine Champion. A new ability, which is just like a new final ability for you. Alright, moving on to the core features. HP, same as everyone else. So you're going to start with 10 plus con score now, and 6 plus con default. Proficiencies are unchanged for the most part. Spellcasting is shown here. And nothing is actually different for them. Then we move down to features. We have Sacred Oath, which is largely unchanged except for the second use at 13th level. But it's a relatively minor change. It also mentions how Oath spells work, but and how Channel Divinity works, so that's why it's bigger than your average archetype stuff. Fighting Style. You have access to Dueling, Great Weapon, Long Arm, 2-Weapon, Defense, Battlecaster, Blind, and Blind Fighting. That needs to be an or Blind Fighting. So there we go. And you also get Battlecaster for Cleric. So then, first level, you have Lay on Hands, which works exactly the same. Divine Sense. You get additional uses equal to your proficiency bonus each day, just to kind of throw in some extra uses of this utility feature. It is otherwise largely unchanged. Spellcasting, same as before. Divine Smite is now once per turn, but that's how it is. And it's Fiend or Undead that triggers the extra damage. Other than that, somewhat unchanged, but you will notice it does not specify the damage type. That is because the damage type is actually changed to work a little bit differently. So, this is the biggest change to Paladin, by the way. Because, let's be honest, if you were an Oathbreaker, or to a lesser extent, Conquest, or even Vengeance Paladin, having your Divine Smite be Radiant, while useful, just didn't make any sense. So, instead, your Divine Smite is now going to care about your Oath for its damage type. So at second level, each one determines the damage types you can choose with this feature, and the damage type choice is currently treated as if you were preparing a spell. So basically, whenever you finish a long rest, you pick the damage type. Third level, Harness Divine Power. The level of the spell slot is half your proficiency bonus level or lower. You can use it once before needing a long rest, and then you get extra uses at 9th and 17th levels. Divine Health, immunity to sickness and disease. 5th level, extra attack, 2 attacks instead of 1. Works as it did before. Okay, 6th level, Paladin's Aura. As a bonus, so basically this is the ability that activates your aura, and each oath has a different aura ability at 6th level. So you begin with that ability, with Aura of Protection being moved to 7th to swap places with your Paladin, your Oath one. But at 6th level, as a bonus action, you can create an aura that affects you and any creatures in 15 feet of you. This aura is considered magical and can be dispelled, and it lasts until you fall unconscious, die, or end it early as a free action. Doesn't extend behind full cover, but affects any creatures of your choice you're aware of. Each aura effect only affects the creatures in the aura you want it to, choosing targets separately for each. So basically, how it works is just, let's say you have Aura of Protection and Aura of Courage. You could actually specify that certain creatures have Aura of Protection but not Aura of Courage, and others have both, and a few others have only Aura of Courage but not Aura of Protection. So it's a simple thing, but it's sort of like, hey, here's a little buff to you. And also, if it affects enemies, also does stuff like that. So Paladin's Aura actually cares about certain things. And basically, it's sort of like, for each aura you have, you choose which creatures in Paladin's Aura have it at any given point. And the idea is, it's like, if you're unconscious, dead, and you can turn them off now, so it's like, you don't always have it active if you want it to. 7th level, Aura of Protection. It has actually gotten a slight nerf, in that its bonus is halved until 18th level. And, keep in mind, all auras have an improved effect at 18th level. It's not just, at 18th level they all extend to 30 feet, which it still does, by the way. And also it was extended to 15-foot aura instead of 10 to start, just because I feel like it rounds into 30 better. But yeah. So aura protection, it's like, oh yeah, half charisma modifier to all non-death saving throws in the aura. And at 18th level, it's just flat charisma. 7th level, divine dedication. Almost all magic can't change your alignments. Only wish, the deck of many things, or anything similarly powerful or rare can alter it without your approval. You can still choose to change it yourself as normal. And basically, like, if you would be affected by some alignment changing effect that isn't one of those, you could actually choose to let it affect you anyway, if you wanted to. 10th level, Aura of Courage. It's now advantage on saving throws against being frightened while in the aura. And at 18th level, it becomes immunity to frightened. Improved Divine Smite once per round when you hit with an attack roll. It can deal extra d8 damage of the same type as Divine Smite currently is. So once again, slightly changed, but it's just to fall in line with Divine Smite damage type being changeable. So too is Improved Divine Smite's damage changeable. And it's just whatever your Divine Smite is, as it was before, actually. 15th level, Cleansing Touch. Standard action, dispel one effect affecting you or willing creature you can touch. And you have Charisma uses before a long rest. Improved auras at 18th level. Radius of your Paladin's aura increases to 30 feet instead of 15. And your aura effects upgrade in some way. It's just reminding you, hey, your auras are more powerful now. 20th level, Divine Champion. When you take a short rest, you regain 1/5 of your Lay on Hands HP. So this begins as just 4 HP per short rest. And you either regain 1 3rd level spell slot. Actually, no, that's... No. That's actually... blah, 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 blah. I'm dumb. That's... No. It's, so it's 20 HP. You regain 20 HP with every Lay on Hands HP with every short rest. And then you either regain 1 3rd level spell slot, a 2nd level and a 1st level spell slot, or 3 1st level spell slots. So basically you get to choose what kind of spell slots. You basically recharge 3 levels worth of spell slots. Just didn't type it out like that. Very simple but useful feature. It just makes you more effective at spell casting using your Divine Smites and your Lay on Hands. Nothing too crazy, at least. So, not too much change, just little tweaks here and there. Base Paladin Oaths. So, I forgot to delete that. It's just, that was something that was going to be there, but I never made them and actually removed them. Anyway, Oath of Devotion. 1st level, you begin with Sacred Weapon, which basically is, as a bonus action, you can use a Channel Divinity to imbue a weapon you're holding with positive energy. That works pretty much the same way as it did before. So, nothing too special there. Turn the Unholy. As a standard action, you can use Channel Divinity, centering fiends and undead. And that actually just works the same way as it did before. So, both of these, currently unchanged. Sacred Weapon may get nerfed, but is yet to be seen. First level, Devoted Guard. Oh, wait, that actually reminds me. I almost forgot to mention something very important. Specifically with Lay on Hands. Lay on Hands now has a special caveat. Basically, even though it's normally a standard action, if you target yourself with the feature, it is a bonus action instead. So basically, as a self-heal, it is more effective. It's faster as a self-heal, but if you want to use it on other people, it is a standard action. This is kind of to bring some more balance between Paladin and Fighter self-healing, whereas Paladin, it's a daily resource that's its standard action as well. Theirs was a bonus action that's a short rest resource, so yeah. Anyway, Devoted Guard for Devotion. You get the Light cantrip, and Lay on Hands can be used on creatures up to 15 feet away from you. So basically it adds range to your Lay on Hands and gives you the Light cantrip. Nothing special. Divine Smite, meanwhile, for Oath of Devotion, is either fire, force, lightning, or radiant damage. Meanwhile, your Oath spells, you get protection from good and evil, Sanctuary, Prayer of Healing, Warding Bond, Beacon of Hope, Life Transference, Fire Shield, Guardian Faith, Dawn, and Wall of Light. So the 17th level spells changed. 3rd level, you get a different spell. 4th level, I think one of the spells got changed, but kind of like mix up the arsenal a bit. Sorry. I had a yawn. 6th level, Aura of Devotion. Your Paladin's Aura can grant creatures of your choice advantage on saving throws against being charmed. I forgot to type against. And at 18th level, it instead grants immunity to being charmed. 10th level, Radiant Glory. You can heal any number of creatures at once with Lay on Hands as a standard action, but you expend the HP for each separately. So basically, you could heal 2 creatures for 10 HP, but you have to spend 10 HP for each. You have to spend 20 HP to restore 10 HP to 2 targets. And this is partly to balance it out. It's just like, oh, you're doing it faster, but you're also able to not increase the healing done. 10th level, that was 10th level. 14th level, Purity of Spirits, always under the effects of protection from good and evil. 20th level, as a Holy Nimbus. As a bonus action, you can summon a Holy Nimbus around you for 1 minute, or until you fall unconscious or die. And you shed Bright Light 30 feet, Dim Light 30 feet further. Whenever a creature starts its turn in the Bright Light, you can deal Prof plus Charisma damage of the type your Divine Smite currently is. So once again, that's just going into the idea that your Divine Smite's damage type changes, so its damage type also changes. Yeah, I have a bit of a cough, so I'm trying not to cough directly into the mic. And you also have advantage on any saving throws against effects and spells from fiends and undead. Largely the same. I think the advantage on saving throws was tossed in. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's sort of like to go with the idea of your turn the unholy. And it's a long rest before you can do it again. So, yeah, slight buff to the periodic damage, but I think it actually is net 1 plus 1 if you have the 5 charisma, but it looks nicer at the very least. Oath of Ancients. So we have Nature's Wrath. So the Channel of Divinities, Nature's Wrath. which is a bonus action now. And it has a 60-foot range, actually. Otherwise, it's the same. It just has extended reach. Turn the Faithless. Standard action, you can use Channel Divinity. And targets Fae and Fiends. What's good? Literally the same as it was before. You also get Ancient's Gift at first level. So you learn the Dancing Lights cantrip. And you gain proficiency in one of the following skills: Animal Handling, Nature, or Survival. And Divine Sense can also target Fae. And you have access to Archery Fighting Style. The add Fae to the list is kind of to mix better with Turn the Faithless. So, Divine Smite for Oath of Ancients is either fire, lightning, radiant, or thunder damage. So it's similar to Devotion, but you have thunder instead of force. Third level, you have your Oath spells, which includes Ensnaring Strike, Speak with Animals, Misty Step, Moonbeam, Plant Growth, Water Walk, Guardian of Nature, Stone Skin, Commune with Nature, and Wrath of Nature. And I believe Guardian of Nature and Wrath of Nature were eroded, while the rest were the same as before, I think. Once again, I don't know off the top of my head. 6th level, Aura of Warding. This has actually been changed. So, creatures of your choice in your Paladin's aura have take minus charisma to all energy damage. So, what is energy damage? Basically, it's any damage that's not physical. So, acid, cold, fire, lightning, thunder, force, poison, necrotic, radiant, psychic, and thunder are all energy damage. And then at 18th level, Aura of Warding changes it from minus charisma to just giving resistance, which technically means you can end up in situations where something does more damage through Aura of Warding, but for the most part, it's going to just reduce it massively. Also, it's no longer just going to work on spells, it's now all energy damage, but conversely, it doesn't actually affect physical damage from spells. So it's only energy damage, but from any source. 10th level, Ancient's Blessing. You gain Summon Beast spell, which counts as an oath spell. Once per day, you can cast without expending a spell slot or using concentration at the highest level of Paladin spell you can cast. And as an additional bonus, it is always considered to be in your Paladin's aura, even if it's not actually in range of it. So if it's 60 feet away from you, it still actually has your Paladin's aura effect. So that means Aura of Warding, Protection, and Courage are always active on it. 14th level, Undying Sentinel. Whenever reduced to 0 HP and aren't killed outright, choose to drop to 1 HP instead. You have to get a long rest before doing it again. And you suffer none of the drawbacks of old age, can't be aged magically. Simple enough. It's just a survivability thing. 20th level. Forgot to name that. Elder Champion. So, bonus action, enter Elder Champion form. You gain plus charisma to all attack and damage rolls. You gain 10 HP at the start of your turn. Paladin spells that normally cost a standard action can be used as a bonus action instead. And Paladin set spells that can normally be used as a bonus action can be used as a free action on your turn instead, but you can only do one spell as a free action on your turn. Basically a way of hastening your spells, casting. And then creatures of your choice in 60 feet of you have disadvantage against saving throws against your spell DC. So basically what that means is any feature that uses your spell DC to determine its successfulness, they have disadvantage against. So this, for the most part, just means, hey, you give them disadvantage against your spells, but this can also potentially do other stuff. Last but not least, Oath of Vengeance. First level, you have Abjure Enemy, which pretty much unchanged except for the fact that Undead and Feeds have disadvantage on the save. I think it's pretty much unchanged, though. Vow of Enmity. Largely unchanged, but you can now move it as a bonus action after the creature dies, using the same duration. It's 10 minutes now. First level, you also get Avenger's Wrath, which just says, hey, you learn one of the following cantrips: Chill Touch, Produce Flame, Ray of Frost, or Sun Ray. Which actually correspond to your second level Divine Smite, which can deal cold, fire, necrotic, or radiant damage. So, it's simple enough. Avenger's Wrath just gives you a ranged cantrip you can use. Your Oath spells include Bane, Zephyr Strike, Hold Person, Mind Spike, Slow, Thunderstep, Banishment, Sickening Radiance, Hold Monster, and Steel Wind Strike. So you can see a lot of Xanathar spells got moved in. Hunter's Mark was also removed, but that was mostly because you have Vow of Enmity, which means that it's kind of powerful to have both of those. 6th level, we have Aura of Wrath. Your Paladin's Aura can cause creatures of your choice to deal plus charisma damage to targets that have damaged them since their last turn. 18th level, the bonus is charisma times 2. So, Aura of Wrath basically says creatures in your Paladin's Aura that you choose have plus charisma to damage rolls against anyone who's hit them since their last turn. So, simple enough idea to give Oath of Vengeance a aura of some kind that actually makes sense. 10th level, we have Relentless Avenger, which is Relentless Avenger. Whenever you hit a creature with an opportunity attack, you move half your speed immediately afterwards as part of the same reaction. And the movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. Soul of Vengeance. So, how this works is very simple. When a creature under the effect of Abjure Enemy, Mind Spike, or Vow of Enmity makes an attack, you can use a reaction to make a melee weapon attack against that creature if it's within reach. The main change is that this now works with Abjure Enemy plus Mind Spike, which it didn't before. It used to just be Vow of Enmity, but now it works with other abilities as well. 20th level, we have Avenging Angel, which just says bonus action, enter the Avenging Angel form for 1 minute until you fall unconscious or die, etc., etc. Yeah, this cough is crazy. It's kind of this allergy cough that I get, but I'm still making this video. So, Avenging Angel form gives you fly speed of 60 feet. If you already have a fly speed of 60 feet or less, increase that speed to 60 feet instead. So basically, your fly speed becomes 60 if you already have one, but otherwise you just gain a fly speed. It's just a slight wording change to work with other stuff. First time any enemy enters your Paladin's aura or starts its turn there during a battle, the creature must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw. Change this to Wiz save to fall in line with the wording I use. But or become frightened of you for 1 minute or until it takes any damage. Attack rolls against the frightened creature have advantage. Then once per round, you can use Divine Smite at first level without expending a spell slot. So basically, you just get spammable Divine Smite now. So you just whack people all day with it. So, last but not least, let's go over the spell list. So we're mostly going to go at the new spells. So we have Conceal Form from Tarkir, which is actually given to everybody. So nothing special to talk about there. You now have Sanctuary, Ensnaring Strike, Guiding Bolt, and Inflict Wounds eroded to you. Inflict Wounds is part of the kind of increase in necromancy stuff for Paladin. Guiding Bolt is part of kind of like add a few castery options if you want them. They're not going to be that good because you're not a dedicated caster, but it's there. While Inflict Wounds is also kind of like probably better taking other options to an extent, but it does hit pretty hard compared to your smites for the most part, especially at higher levels. Like cast it at 5th level, it hits like a truck. But and then Snaring Strike is kind of to bring in some crossover from Ranger that actually makes sense for them to have. And Sanctuary is just a defensive spell you didn't get before that kind of fits with what Paladin wants in their arsenal. As for the new spells, we have Leeching Smite, Soul Strike, and Sunblast. So, Soul Strike is a necromancy spell that was designed as sort of like a ranged damage spell you can use, and it deals necrotic damage, but you can also sacrifice some of your own HP to increase its damage by, I believe, twice the damage you take. So, Sunblast, meanwhile, is a cone of light of radiant damage. Simple enough if it appeared on Druid. But, last but not least, for first level, is Leeching Smite. So, this spell is basically a necrotic smite of sorts. It deals necrotic damage and gives you temporary hit points. Simple enough and kind of adds to what Dark Paladins can use. Sort of giving a better arsenal for those Paladins while also expanding the smite arsenal to be more versatile with what you have. Second level, meanwhile, Lightning Helix from Ravnica, Lightning Helix, Spiritual Weapon returns, comes over as well as Healing Spirit. Both of these are kind of to add some summoning options that make sense for Paladin. One's a healing spell to kind of build into Paladin's offhand support stuff that they're better at than Ranger. And then we also have a Spiritual Weapon here, which it just makes sense for Paladin to be able to summon a Spiritual Weapon. Just sounds right. Then we also have Sweeping Smite as a new spell. This is fairly straightforward. It appeared on Ranger as well, actually. You just spin around and damage everything nearby in 10 feet. Simple, but it fits perfectly. And this was actually designed specifically for Paladin as well. And then there is also Drain Life, which is essentially a range damage spell that also heals you. So it's basically just a single-use enervate is how I would explain it. Then, at 3rd level, Armor Scales from Tarkir shows up. Beacon of Hope, Life Transference, Protection from Energy are all more support/defensive spells that kind of fit with Paladin. Life Transference is just... It fits too good. Spirit Guardians, meanwhile, kind of fits into their arsenal as like an aura of damage, which is... It's basically a damaging aura of sorts. And it kind of fits with the class that can use Spirit Shroud. You can also use them to directly attack your enemies. They're kind of like similar, but slightly different spells as well. But for your new spells, we have Arcing Smite and Sunbolt. Sunbolt, single target radiant damage spell. Arcing Smite, however, it's kind of like Lightning Arrow, actually, but it's actually more accurately kind of like Lightning Arrow plus Conjure Barrage, but for melee weapons. So you strike at a target with a melee attack, and then lightning jumps out to hit other nearby enemies. 4th level, Guardian of Faith, Stoneskin. Stoneskin and Fire Shield are here because they're defensive spells that fit in with the idea that you're a tank class of sorts. Guardian of Faith is here as a kind of divine character. You're able to summon guardians to help you protect your allies. Elemental Smite, just a smite that deals basically Chromatic Orb as a smite. Simple enough. Regeneration is a decent heal over time effect. And then Soul Burst is basically an AoE Soul Strike that I believe I'm going to make it 15 foot around you. So, simple but powerful spell. It also does increase damage based on the damage you take. And, by the way, these spells, as you progress, you can roll progressively larger dice to determine the extra damage you deal. As of now. Also, there's Justice Strike from Ravnica, which I believe is just like a smite attack spell, is what I'm going to make it. Haven't made it yet. Ravnica is less finished than Tarkir, but oh well. 5th level, Storm Aura from Tarkir. Kind of an upgraded Warding Wind, but oh well. It's also got lightning. You also get Commune. Excuse me. Which Rangers got commune with nature, so only makes sense that Paladins can also commune, but with their deity. Dawn and Flame Strike are here to kind of get some crossover with the damaging spells, while Greater Restoration, Hallow, and Mass Cure Wounds are to kind of fit in with their holy support build. And Hallow's just there because, cleric-y stuff. But Greater Resto, Mass Cure Wounds to kind of expand their support arsenal. And then, last but not least, for the last new spell at 5th level, Mass Shield of Faith. Shield of Faith on multiple allies. Simple, straightforward, and highly effective. However, do keep in mind you are using 5th level spell slots for it, so You may not always want this, especially when it's like, you could use it for flame strikes and stuff. So it's certainly an interesting new idea that's like, hey, it's a shield of faith, but targets multiple people at a time. But anyway, that has been the Paladin class. So I hope you enjoyed seeing what the Paladin in D&D 5.5 is like. Or at least like the little tweaks. And I also look forward to showing off the Oath of Shadow, which is the renamed Oathbreaker that's basically like, it's an oath now, not like you don't have an oath and such, but just slightly reflavored one and slightly tweaked. But that is planned, but it's not going to be a base one. But without further ado, stay tuned for more 5.5 stuff. But with that, see y'all next time. Halo Zoo out.